You know, I gotta say, War Chicken's bombers are probably one of the coolest, if not one of the most useless vehicle types in the game. They simply just don't do anything, and I feel like they were just undertreated in this game's current meta. So in this video, guys, I'd like to talk about some ways in which War Chicken could actually improve the bombers and actually give them some love. So anyway, all the ideas which were given in today's video were actually provided to me by my community, so thank you guys so much for that. Anyway, the first idea which actually comes to mind is going to be buffing one important thing about just bombs in general in this game, not even for the bombers themselves. Let's take a look at something like an SU-25 Frogfoot. Its weaponry is really strong on its own. Its main weapon is obviously going to be the bombs, because those do the most damage. However, the problem with these bombs is that their drop speed is, do you guys see this? It took like almost 4 seconds for the bomb to get to the enemy when I was at around maybe 700, 800 altitude. Like, that on its own is absolutely horrible. Just imagine you're doing this with a normal bomber that's like really high up. Like right here, just take a look at this. These bombs are taking so long to get to the target. I believe their drop speed should definitely be increased because, yeah, you're not gonna be hitting anybody with these, no matter how good your leads actually are. Now, next up we got buffing cluster bombs on the B1 Lancer, and what I'm mainly talking about when buffing these cluster bombs is just like their overall damage, their area of effect, basically everything, because I don't know if you guys already noticed, the cluster bombs right now are only really good at engaging ships. Their damage is by far the best against them. However, if you're gonna be using them on anything else, these bombs are kinda useless. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, they don't really do much damage and they're so easy to dodge. And the whole point of these cluster bombs is so that they were good at engaging moving vehicles. Unfortunately, that's not really the case in this game. That just really sucks. Now, the next suggestion that we got is improving the airports or just getting much bigger ones, because as you guys can see right here, yeah, that happens when you're trying to land a bomber. The airport just isn't big enough, so the vehicle just crashes right away. It's really annoying. I really would love for the game to actually add a lot more islands, which could even be places which you could actually land the bombers at, so you can actually heal their health, because right now, you mainly just want to eject if you're low on health. You can't even land a bomber in most cases and heal it. And even if you do, then you're just gonna get stuck whenever you're taking off. Your wing is gonna get broken off and then you're dead. Now, the next thing which we're going to be moving into is a cool quality of life feature which the bombers currently do not have. They added the bomb sight, which is cool, of course. However, it's really annoying how some of these bombs take so long to drop, because by that time you already move out of the designated place which you actually want to bomb. So my suggestion would be is to also get an option to drop all of the bombs at once. That is something that you can actually do in real life. So why wouldn't you be able to do this in game, you know? I think that would be kind of cool. Now, the next suggestion right here is actually adding clouds which can disrupt people from being able to see you. So for example, at a specific altitude of like 2,500, let's say, since the planes cannot reach there would be clouds. So these clouds you could use as a bomber to actually hide above, so that way some planes wouldn't even know where you are, because right now it is really annoying. Even though you can reach higher than the usual planes with the altitude, that actually ends up being somewhat useless, because the planes can shoot you anyway, because they just know where you are. There's literally no cover, where in real life the bombers in many cases actually do use clouds as cover. Even though radars exist, they still do. They used that before in the older wars. Now, next up what we got is improving loadouts of the bombers that really need it. A perfect example of bombers which actually have a good loadout that works is the B1B Lancer and the B1R Regional. These vehicles have actual different weaponry which they can use apart from their bombs, except the other planes, or rather other bombers, can't really do this. Like the B29, it's got 12 bombs. The B2, it's got 24 bombs. Like, man, that's so boring. What I really wish they did is just added more different bombs they could use on each specific bomber. So for example, the B2 Spirit will be the primary bunker buster bomber. However, along with this, it would also have different types of bombs which you could use for combat purposes, such as the guided bombs. So you could actually defend yourself against ground vehicles since you don't have the cluster bombs or you don't have missiles like the B1R Regional. Like, you guys get what I mean. This would make the B2 actually like somewhat useful and not be a sitting duck. And now for the B-29 Super Fortress, I feel like it would be good if they just gave it some extra napalm bombs and then that would be good enough. Because right now it only has the 12 bombs which do horrendous damage too, by the way. Its AI turrets is obviously its main special feature, but it's supposed to be a bomber. Okay, now I know I'm gonna get probably a lot of hate for this, however I do believe that some bombers do deserve to get mini nukes. You have vehicles like the submarines which are absolutely overpowered, which can just drop 6 nukes on a base while also camping underwater. That itself is completely unbalanced. However, a bomber that's fully exposing themselves, it is balanced. It's really balanced because it's gonna die in like 1 second anyway if somebody doesn't like the fact that that you're using a bomber that has nukes. I don't think this will be a big deal, to be honest with you guys. Plus, a feature like this would also allow for them to add another bomber in the game, which is more of a nuclear specialized bomber that has a good history of dropping nukes. You know what you are. Now, along with this, we also got a very common suggestion, which will be adding radar to bombers. So here's the thing, we only really have radar on ground vehicles, tanks and helicopters. However, no plane in this game actually has this feature. I think it would be really cool if bombers were the only vehicles in the plane category that could actually use this feature, because it would actually give people more reason to spawn them on top of this as well. Now, along with this, I do believe buffing their health a little bit would also help, because you got vehicles like the B2 Spear and the B1, the Super Fortress, their health is roughly around 2,000 to 3,000 health. However, that doesn't really matter too much because you get shredded by literally everything in the game, and the damage multipliers on planes are much different than damage multipliers on tanks. You take a lot more damage on these planes, and a lot of them, like the B-29 Super Fortress, are kinda armored too. Now, along with this, one change which I'd like to see too is adding a bomb sight to the Ju-87 Stuka. I think that would be really cool right now because the Stuka is just, it's horrendous as a vehicle. Yes, they buffed it, now it can one-shot tanks. However, the thing is, it has to go really low to be able to one-shot them in most cases to hit an accurate shot. If you added a bomb sight, then this could just allow for it to be a little more realistic, but also having a better idea of where they need to actually aim their bomb if they're not planning to get shot out the sky right away and actually shoot a few people with a bomb instead of just one and die in 1 second. And now lastly we got adding electronic warfare to the B2 Spirit and the B1 Lancer. These two vehicles are actually really good at doing this. That's how they keep themselves safe on top of a massive fleet following them, by the way. But that's besides the point. I think bombers which are more modern also deserve to have this feature, kinda how the F-35I does and other vehicles do. But anyway, for the time being, that's all I have for you guys in today's video. Do let me know in the comment section down below what will be some of the ways in which you would change the bombers to. I'll see you all in the next video.